So no one mute your mics. And then we'll test to see if this works.
No muting of the
That'll
mics.
No muting of the mics.
Just have to turn this music up.
Dang it. Yeah. Stop playing.
Steven just...
I don't want you to play. I don't like it. I don't. Let's see. Halo. We talk about Halo. Halo. We talk about Halo. Hey, it's working. 4 people up in the chat. What's up? 4 people up in the chat. And let's move this. Let's get this thing loaded here.
All the small things.
All the small things. She left me roses by the stairs.
So it was weird the other night when I was streaming Halo 5. I was playing actual music from Halo 5, like in the starting page. And then on the video, they muted our starting page. Like, they muted it for the first 3 minutes while I was playing that music. Even though it's the exact same music that plays in Halo 5. It's really funny. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
But whatever, I guess.
Welcome to 2020. Everything
Copyrighted
sucks.
stuff.
All right.
You are listening to...
Whoa, sorry.
Getting started.
Sorry. You guys ready to go? Mike, you ready to go? Let's get a voice
He's watching
check
the
from...
Xbox conference right now.
I know he is. I can tell. So let's get a mic check from Devin.
Mic check from Devin. Let me know if I need to move it closer to my face.
Nope, you sound good right there. Let's get a... Hold on, I guess I should check this. Do it one more time, Devin.
Doing it one more time. Halo all the way. Can't wait to tell you about
Mic
it.
check. Mic check from JD.
Oh,
Mic check from JD. We're talking about Halo, and we're going to be talking in circles.
JD's a little bit hotter than Devin. Devin, move yours just a tiny bit closer. And then give me another one.
You move yours a tiny bit closer. Just irresponsible, Steven.
Your towel.
Mike, get a mic check.
Mike's mic check. Mike, 1, 2, 3.
All right. I think we're ready to go. You guys ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Lots to talk about.
Whoa, your mic just changed big time. What did you do?
I moved it forward half an inch like you asked me to.
That's half an inch?
Yeah, that's it.
Move it back like a quarter inch.
Moved it back an eighth of an inch.
Quarter of an inch. Now tell me. Now talk.
Moved it back a quarter of an inch.
Wow, that's crazy how much different it sounds.
The Yeti, man, I tell you.
Insane in the membrane. All right. Make sure I'm recording here. That's recording there. This is recording here. I'm going to hit the go button and 3, 2.
You are listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 132 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running podcast that we have been hosting. I am your host, Steve. I'm here with my 3 co-hosts. We've got Mike on deck. Mike, how's it going? Shout out to the peeps, Mike.
It's going well. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing okay and got to watch the Xbox show today.
Was that
Pretty
today?
Cool stuff.
Was that today?
Somebody told me it was. I don't know when, honestly. But yeah, there's some cool stuff out. I'm not sure when they came out, but some cool stuff. Really exciting things.
I mean,
Devin's freaking out over here. He's like super stoked and excited for what's going on, and I don't even know if he knows.
Could you imagine if like someone totally forgot like the biggest day of gaming news for the entire year today? I mean, I have no idea what would happen to that person. We're here with JD. JD, welcome back. How's it going, JD?
It is going. I have survived. I am back. That's where we're going to leave it.
All right, Devin. We've got Devin back, and Devin, I can feel the excitement over on your side of the planet.
Yes, it's a great day.
So,
I mean, it started out rough, but it was a great day.
Let's see. The drunk Superman says the 2 greatest months of my life. Drunk Superman, thanks for the sub. I hope we make it the best 2 years of your life also.
I appreciate you knowing.
That's what we try to do. Thanks, Drunk Superman. Drunk Superman plays a lot of games with Devin. I guess the Drunk Superman, would the Drunk Superman just be Hancock, right? Did they make that movie where Will Smith was just drunk and he was pretty much like Superman?
I think
Pretty sure they
so.
made that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems
Pretty
about right.
He's like, unsubscribe. How dare you call
Unsub,
me?
this content is terrible. How dare you call me Will Smith? Hey, I would if someone called me Will Smith, I would take that as a compliment. So thank you everyone for being here. This is again episode 132. We've got a lot of things to go over. Xbox dropped a lot of news. So let's go ahead and let's do all the fun stuff we do at the beginning. First of all, if you want to leave us a message, you could do that at Freelancer. Where can you do that? Freelancer Codex at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Drop us an email if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything. You can do that there. Also, if you would like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/freelancercodex. This show will always be free, so you don't have to worry about it going away. But if you want to throw some support, you can do that there. You can also do, you can support us over on Twitch through subs. There's a lot of places you can do that. So, or you can just go review us on whatever podcast catcher you use. Devin, put your glasses back on, please.
I'm wiping my glasses.
Okay, I was like, I don't know who that guy is. It's like Devin without glasses. But yeah, there's many places you can support us. We appreciate all the support that everyone gives us through all the different ways that you do that. So thank you very much. But we would like to especially thank Julius, Nathan B, Michael R, Trent B, Man and Still, Scout 69, Dragonheart 76, Jeffrey H, Gameplay Experience, and our newest patron RZ. So thank you everyone for supporting us there, and we hope you continue to do so, and we hope we provide you good entertainment and good content. So cool. With that out of the way, I kind of want to talk about the things that we have been doing this week before we jump into all the news, because we've got a couple things that we've all been doing. So we want to talk about that real quick before we jump into the Xbox stuff. So Mike, what have you been up to this week?
So I have been trying to get back into the swing of things and trying to spend some more time playing some games. So I jumped on Steam and just went on a browsing binge. I don't know if you binge browsing, but I went on browsing and I found a game that kind of stood out to me. It is called Legends of Arya. It is challenging.
What is it?
It's challenging. It seems really fun. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in it. There's a lot of things to consider. It's very much very RPG, very build your own character, trick it the way you want to, fight the things, learn the skills. Pretty cool to begin with. I haven't gotten too far into it. Kind of a lot to take in. Definitely probably not the best choice to make if you're looking for like a casual type game. This one requires lots and lots of attention. Unfortunately, I couldn't give it too much at the time that I got it. It was in between nap times, so not naps for me, but naps for the kiddos. And it just wasn't enough time to really do a sufficient deep dive. It looks fun. I'll return to it. I'll check it out. I'll try it. But yeah, so Legends of Arya, it's on Steam and it's free to play.
So this is a really interesting game, Mike, that I like. Just looking at the Steam page, this isn't something that I would say like, hey, Mike would really be into this. Like what made you like download Legends of Arya? Just trying something different?
Just trying something new and trying to broaden horizons and kind of see kind of what genres I like. Maybe there's something out there that I'm like, why didn't I know this before? And how come I hadn't seen this genre before? And why haven't I been playing these? But we'll see. This one, I don't have a super good taste in my mouth currently. I'll have to return to it and really give it some time and spend time with it to see if it's something that I'm really gonna get into. But for those who are into that type of RPG, I think of our D&D campaign that we did, and so it kind of brings back some shady memories of things and gnomes and arrows and things. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I've got that I'm going back to. But I don't know. We'll try it. We'll check it out, and then we'll continue to go on Steam and look for stuff and see what's coming and play some of those things that are hopefully gonna come. So.
Yeah, so for the curious people, this game is very much like RuneScape or old Ultima Online. It actually says that it was built by the former director of Ultima Online. So you can definitely see that style and that influence in this game. So interesting. Cool, Mike. I'm glad you're trying new things and getting back into trying to figure out what you like to play. So,
At least
Devin,
trying,
what
right?
yeah, I mean, you got to try. So, Devin, what have you been up to?
Flying a pelican. No. No, I've been playing a lot of Halo 5, right? Streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. Just having a great time. Playing with some people in the community, playing with my friends. And then in between that, I'm trying to play through Ghost of Tsushima. I was originally trying to get it done before Horizon comes out on PC on August 7th. But I found myself just like trying to rush through stuff, and I was like, I'm not giving this game a fair shake, just trying to force my way through. And it wasn't very fun doing it that way, and so I said, well, I'll just have to wait to play Horizon until I'm done with this. Because it's a beautiful game, it's a lot of fun to play, but I can only get about maybe 6 hours a week on it. Just due to time constraints and everything else that I'm doing. But it's really good. Go ahead.
What's your favorite part of Ghosts?
My favorite part really is kind of just the setting, like the environment. The combat's not bad; it's pretty good. But I would say just the setting of being in Japan, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
I've always wanted to go to Japan, and there's one thing that really bugs me though about the environment is like there's like leaves or stuff like blowing through the air all the time.
Right.
And I mean, we live in a semi-windy place, and there's never like leaves in the air all the time. I mean,
right.
Even when the cottonwood trees, which produce so much stuff in the air, there's never that much in the air all the time. And
you
so,
should ask Mike if there is, because I'm sure Mike.
I mean,
would,
even if it's not in the air,
disagree with
though, even if it's not in the air, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's just like they do it for the photo mode, which is great. It's super easy to use. But it's just like it's kind of annoying that it's there all the time.
Yes, because one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about is that they like some people really like that the directions are given through the wind and those indicators, and other people like really hate it. Like as someone that plays a ton of Sea of Thieves, like I mean, do you like it or do you think is it done well? Is it
for me
not done well?
the wind is fine, but one of the upgrades. So there's another really sorry, my nose is itching. Annoying kind of upgrade. It's good in a sense because it like vibrates the controller when you're near an item that you're trying to find, like a collectible. But so it's part of like there's a couple different things that upgrade with it, and so like the first part of it is it vibrates when you're within 30 feet of an item, and then the next one is 60 feet, but that could be anywhere. It doesn't give you like a direction, right? So you just have to keep wandering around until you find it. Which is kind of a little bit annoying, but and then it's not too bad, except for when you're like just wandering around and it just keeps vibrating all the time. It's like,
Gotcha.
So that's kind of a little bit annoying, but maybe I know they're excited about the haptic feedback in the DualSense for the PlayStation 5, so maybe they'll incorporate that a little bit better to kind of give you a direction through the vibration of where it's at. I don't know.
Oh, so do you think that they'll put out a port for the PS5? Is it coming to PlayStation 5? I guess
I'm guessing it's backwards compatible. Hopefully. Do
you think they would take the time to add that in for the haptic controller?
I would hope so. I mean, they themselves are the ones who spoke out and said they're excited for it.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the one thing for me though is like the hardware is definitely holding the game back. Like I've kind of talked to you about this, but there's a little bit of loading issues, a little bit of problems with. The one thing I don't really like is when there's not consistency, where some trees you can't walk through, other trees you can just go right through. It's a little frustrating.
That's like the Forza Horizon problem. It's like, can I run into this tree or can I not run into this tree while I'm driving? Or
there's also several like camera issues. So there's a lot of places where they need you to climb under stuff. You can climb under most of the homes, different things. But when you're trying to exit, and sometimes even when you're trying to enter, like the camera gets stuck, and so you can't move, and so you have to like maneuver the character around until it finally clears whatever it's stuck on. So starts the animation of letting you out or in.
Cool. Well, I'm excited that I'm glad that you're having a lot of fun with it. JD, it looks like you've been playing Ghost as well.
Yeah, yeah. I've been basically just so I stream it just to a couple of friends every like maybe like twice a week so far. I think I might stream it again after I'm done with the podcast. Just because I get to interact with my friends, I get to watch me play games, and they're basically riffing like an episode of MST3K. But yeah, it's hard to deny the comparisons for the people calling it basically Assassin's Creed Japan, because it does kind of feel like that. Um, I know I totally get what Devin is saying about about the camera. The camera has some really surprising issues, especially during combat, and maybe you've run into the same issue, but especially like when you're fighting, it doesn't seem like they have a really good um, what's the
Auto
word?
center
Not
or
not even that. Like it's like sometimes like so like if the camera is behind something in like other games, or if it's stuck in an object, usually like other games they have that object go transparent so it doesn't obstruct the view of the action.
but yeah, in
Ghost this doesn't do that. This doesn't do that. I've actually died a couple of times, or have had like really bad situations happen during combat just because the camera got stuck behind a tree and I'm looking at a bush or a bunch of leaves or broken down rickety fence instead of like the three enemies that are surrounding me, and I have to just like quickly just jam the right the right analog stick to kind of like be looking where I need it to.
Do you think the
So
camera is like a little too close? Like sometimes I feel like the third person camera is too close to the character model.
I think I think it would be better if the camera just actually stayed consistent in how it moved, because sometimes it moves on its own, and other times it just stays in place. Like sometimes it follows the action on its own, sometimes it just stays in place, and that inconsistency is really jarring because it just decides like arbitrarily to just like stop following you, and it'll just kind of hold in one place as opposed to moving the action. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it so far. A lot of really cool art design. I like the little legends that they have that are still animated in those kinds of like infamous 1, 2, and Second Son fashion, where it's kind of like just a bunch of like 2D stills, like animated graphics. I like that. Only other thing I've been doing aside from that is I've been getting back into Destiny 2, which has been way more fun than I was expecting. I dropped off before Forsaken dropped, and playing through all the content really quickly has been fun. I don't know that it was necessarily fun for all the Destiny players who had to wait 3 years to get that amount of content. But yeah, it's definitely been a lot of fun. Um, so I'm yeah, Destiny's
Are
fun. Ghost of Tsushima's fun.
are you playing on? Where are you playing Destiny? Are you like? Are you still on your Xbox? Or are you
Nope, I have been using my PC more and more now
cool?
that I have a cool PC. Destiny 2 on PC is really cool. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm actually excited for the Beyond Light expansion. I didn't think I would be excited for Destiny 2 ever again, and here we are. So,
Well, very
You
cool.
watched the
And
trailer,
there's
didn't you? They got you.
of
yeah,
course
there's
they
probably
did.
That's how they
Of
get you.
course they did. They got me.
all right, very cool. So with that out of the way, I guess I could talk about things that I'm doing. So I'm playing a game called Binary Domain on stream. It is a game that came out in 2012. It's about this group of people that are trying to infiltrate this agency that's making robots and trying to pass people off for robots. It is very Japanese. It is written. Yeah, it has some pretty cringeworthy writing and dialogue. It's interesting so far. It was Tavira, one of our followers that jumps in the streams with us a lot of the time, said, "Hey, try this game." So he bought the game and gave it to me, and I was like, "I'll try it. You buy it. I'll try it." So we're working our way through that. That's an interesting game. Like we're gonna finish it. Some of the controls are pretty rough. Just trying to like the auto aim on that game is like super wonky. So there's a portion of the game where you're in a car trying to shoot flying things, and every time it crosses like an enemy, it tries to pull towards that enemy. So while you're aiming, it just like screws you up all the time. So stuff like that's a little bit frustrating. You can definitely tell that it was definitely a 2012 game. So we're gonna finish that up, and then I have been working on the Godfall 101 site. So getting ready for all the Godfall stuff that's going to be coming at the end of this year. Unfortunately, it's going to be coming out at the same time as the PlayStation 5, which means it's going to be coming out around the same time of like a crap ton of games that are going to be coming out. And I don't think there's enough time to do everything that I want to do, unfortunately. So there's decisions we'll
Just
have
gonna have to
be
get
made.
up
So
at
I'm working on a
3 in the
website.
morning.
I actually thought about that, Devin. I was like, I guess this is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to get up an hour earlier
No,
to get all
don't
this
do
stuff
it.
done. So, yeah. All right. So SJ is having trouble with the stream. SJ, did you clear your cache? Maybe try clearing your cache, or try a different browser. Try a different browser and see if that works. All right. So if that's all of our stuff going on, then let's jump into the news, because we got a bit of news, and we'll let Keanu bring us in.
All right. I gotta talk to you about something.
Extra, read all about it. Xbox launches their games showcase today, which I think this is probably the one time this year. No. So during the PlayStation 5 reveal and during this showcase, these are the two times this year I felt like, hey, I'm super excited. This is actual E3 stuff coming on. Like all the other smaller shows from the other publishers, I haven't been like super stoked on. But for these two, I was super excited. So I will let Devin jump in, because I know he has been champing at the bit to talk about Halo.
I don't know what you're
So
talking about, Steven.
Let's just dive right in, all right? So first thing that we see is Halo Infinite, and we get gameplay. I think the Xbox team was like, fine, we didn't show enough gameplay last time. Starting out with Halo Infinite gameplay.
People are still complaining they didn't show enough gameplay in this show.
People are going to complain no matter. Oh, I guess we should do this before we start. This is our Freelancer Codex disclaimer. We are not going to tell you what to like and what not to like. All of us have different tastes. If you like one of these games that we don't like, that's okay. Just because we don't like it doesn't mean you should not like it. All right? Like, everyone is free to enjoy whatever content they want. We are neither going to try to dissuade you from enjoying something, or we're not even going to try to convince you to enjoy something. But I just want to get that out there. So if you like something that we don't, that's cool. If we like something that you don't, that's cool too. So, all right, Devin, jump into it. Halo Infinite, let's go.
Oh, Halo Infinite. Oh, it was so good, right? So good. No, so they started out the show. They were doing a trailer, right? It's a separate trailer. They have it on their YouTube channel, basically talking about how they're making the Mjolnir armor, and then how they realize that it still takes, no matter all the technology they create, it still takes the person inside of it to be able to accomplish everything, right? To be the hero and to save humanity. So that's kind of their whole thing with the Halo Infinite is be the hero. We step into the suit. So they're showing the suit is empty and basically telling us to step into the Master Chief's shoes and be the hero as we play. That's their whole kind of thing. It's kind of been that way since, Halo came out, because you don't see what the Master Chief looks like, really. They showed, spoiler alert for Halo 5 that's been out for 5 years, but they show his eyes at the end of the legend. If you beat the campaign on Legendary, or you can just look on YouTube for that. So they show that off, and then they go into gameplay, right? They do 8 minutes of gameplay, in which you can see behind me right now. It just keeps going on loop. It showed a lot of different things. It showed a huge open world, which is different, right? So they said this campaign is bigger than both Halo 4 and 5 combined. So it's huge. Lots of different weapons, new weapons. They have the grapple shot is what they call it, which on my video you just saw him use it. The Master Chief. One thing I do want to point out, there is sprint. You can see the Master Chief sprint multiple times in the video if you. That's for the big debate online: sprint, no sprint, arguing head to head, old Halo versus new Halo.
Sprints in, and you can either get on board or not.
Yeah, I mean they're
regardless.
supposed to sprint. They're Spartans, right? They can run over 30 kilometers an hour. If you
Can we reload while we sprint though? That'll be that'll be the
that's the
key.
trick. I don't know. I don't know. But there's lots of cool stuff. Yeah, I mean I don't know where we want to start. There is a
Oh,
lot of cool stuff.
let's start here. So the chief and an unknown pilot. This is the pilot that we saw back last year
Mhm.
that found the chief floating in space. And it seems like this pilot is a reluctant hero. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be hanging out with the chief. He doesn't want to be getting killed. He wants to go back to his family. And it seems like he's been dropped in with the chief, and now either has to step up, or I mean, he really has to step up and and complete the mission, because the chief isn't just going to let him bounce. The chief is like, no, we're here. We got to be the heroes, right? Like you were saying, it's time to step into our shoes and be the heroes. So this pilot has a family, and it seems like this pilot is going to be flying us around a new Halo ring. They did say it was a new Halo ring. So we don't know if this is one that's replacing one that has been destroyed previously, because we do know that the Ark that we fought on in Halo 3 was actually making Halo rings.
Yeah, the large
So
arc.
because there has to be 7, I believe, and every time one gets destroyed, the arc would activate and it would create a new one. It seems like this Halo ring is close to being completed. There's a very small section that is not done yet, and that's where the action is taking place. If you see in a lot of the screenshots or a lot of the videos, you see a lot of pillars that look unfinished. It's almost like a game that's not done yet, that hasn't been textured. There's a lot of pillars out there that are waiting to be completed, I assume by the robots, because a lot of drones and stuff create the halos from all of the Forerunner artifacts. So we get dropped on a new Halo ring, very similar. Like, this is supposed to be a spiritual, like, not, what's the word? It's not a rebranding. It's a re.
Virtual reimagining.
There you go.
No, is it?
It's a reimagining. There's a word that I'm not getting correctly, but this is kind of going back to the roots of Halo 1. We're gonna, because this is a couple hours into the game that they told us, but we are back like Halo 1, that second mission where you drop onto the Halo ring, you step out of the Pelican, and you're like, "Whoa, check this out!" I mean, that was a huge moment for a lot of people. So this is going back to those roots, and now it's just opening it up. Like Devin said, it's going to be bigger than their 2 biggest games that they did together. So
Yeah,
it's pretty exciting. I mean, it looks. It's hard to describe the look. It looks. I don't.
it's very
I mean, it looks a
stylized,
little.
right? I mean, they're trying to
Yeah.
create the look that you felt in Halo CE, but also have it be current, right? So I mean, it's very clean, crisp. A lot of people are complaining online about the weapons being so clean and not being all scuffed up and messed up, which I can see. That's fine, for them. But um, I don't have a problem with it. Weapons being clean and crisp. Obviously, the armor's not. There's a lot of things they're doing with this. They've done little interviews here and there after they showed it off to everybody. And the initial stuff was basically like, this is going to be the Halo for a long time, right? So Halo Infinite is basically the new platform for Halo. So they're just
So
gonna
we're not gonna get another numbered Halo.
no, they're not doing more numbered Halos anytime soon. Basically, they're adding on any future story will be under like the Halo Infinite, right? So it'll be all within here, which I like. I like it all being in one place, and then if they have multiplayer, they can just keep making new maps, everything else, and they can also continue to upgrade the technology and everything else that because they're using the same engine, the all space engine. So
And they also talked about new story content also, because
yep,
that was one of the things that with old Halo games, this is the campaign, this is it. We're never updating it, but they'll continue to put maps out. They did a little bit with Spartan Ops.
yeah,
That's what it was called, right? Spartan
yep,
Ops back in the
Spartan
day.
Ops,
But
and
now
Halo
it's going
4.
to be like, yeah, this is going to be a platform where story can continue to happen, which I think is really cool, because I always wanted more Halo story than we got in the games, because I actually really enjoy the Halo universe. That's one of the things that I really dig about it. I really like the whole Forerunner, like finding super advanced tech that you don't know what to do with. I just kind of dig on that. Mike, is there anything from the Halo reveal that got you particularly excited to go back to Halo?
Yeah, so definitely the new like, where does this go from here? What is the chief up to? Just the different the oh shoot, the get ready to go to battle speech by the dude who needs to go to the
By the
dentist.
brute.
Yeah, right.
It
So like
That was cool.
was
while
an
watching
epic
that,
moment.
while watching that, I was picturing Devin, and I could tell Devin was like moving in his seat and gearing up and like reaching for whatever he could use as a machine gun, and like I could tell that he was getting super excited, and it's really cool when and it's cool in movies, and it's cool in any type of media really that can get you going, that can garnish emotions like that in someone, right? Because you felt yourself kind of sitting on the edge of your seat and gripping it, and like,
Oh yeah.
and that's the point, obviously. That's the point of it. And then just jumping back into characters that you're familiar with, and enemies that you're familiar with, the little jester characters that run around that you just, you know, make funny noises when you shoot, and the different weapons were cool. So yeah, I mean, it seems really exciting.
I think one of the cool things that I am most excited for with Halo Infinite, that it's just Chief and the pilot on this Halo ring.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like the UNSC is coming to save anyone.
They
It's
already
just the
lost,
Chief.
right?
Yeah, and it says we lost, so it's just the Chief and this pilot, and then there's a mission. So it actually like feels almost Metroid-esque to me, that this is your crew and that's it. There's no Mac cannons coming from orbit to save you. Like, you either have to stop the Banished, or it's over, or it ends.
Yeah.
No mention of Cortana in this trailer, and with the Banished guy talking to us at the end, like the story of, hey, I've been on this Halo ring for a really long time and I'm super bored. I'm glad you landed here so I have someone to fight. Like, I think that's an interesting storyline, because it's not like, hey, I'm evil. It's, I'm really bored. I've been in quarantine on this Halo ring for a really long time,
Yeah.
and I need something to happen here. So I'm kind of excited just to get a smaller Halo story, not one that's like, hey, we're going to end the universe because Cortana's gone crazy, right? This is like the same thing that we talked about with Star Wars. There's always like, there's always something that's going to end the universe and end everyone. I mean, it does seem like, hey, you know, maybe they activate the Halo ring and they wipe out everyone in this galaxy, because that's what the Halo rings are supposed to do.
Mhm.
But I'm really excited to see where this story goes, because like Devin pointed out to me earlier, during the trailer, you can see off into the background that there's this tower back there off to the left, and it's called, what's the tower called, Devin? Why
Tower
don't you
of
give us
Pain.
a breakdown? Okay,
Right.
and
So
what happens in the Tower of Pain?
in the like if you're reading outside of the games, there's a ton of information. But so the Tower of Pain was created by the Forerunners to experiment on the ancient human civilization at the time. You know, because the human and Forerunners were battling it out, and the humans eventually lost. But anyway, so they created these towers on these halos where they would experiment on humans with the flood. And you can see that in the background in the trailer and also in the picture for the cover. It's a huge tower behind the Master Chief that rises up the horizon there. So I'm excited about that. I'm hopeful for some flood. Flood was a lot of fun to fight against. I mean, it's definitely tons of possibilities, really, with this Halo. There's a lot of possibilities, and they can do pretty much whatever they want, you know. That is interesting. They did some of their interviews, and they were talking about how we're in the same situation as the chief and the pilot, because they have no idea what's going on, what the situation is, because they're isolated and away from everything. So we're kind of learning that story the same, you know, as they're learning it, right? So as we're playing through, they're learning more information, and we're learning this well, basically.
Yeah, and JD's, what do you think about the grappling hook? Are you, because there's been a lot of discourse on whether this game would have a grappling hook or not. It's like a hot topic on the internet.
Oh,
Pick.
you picked the wrong guy to ask, because if there's a question between grappling hook and no grappling hook, I will always be in the grappling hook camp. I love grappling hooks. I remember I've actually gotten the chance to use a grappling hook before. It is much harder than they make it look in the video games.
Like a grappling hook, like with just a hook with a rope, or you got to
Yeah,
use
just a
like a
hook with
grappling gun?
yeah, just a hook with a rope. But you know, grappling hook seems to be the catch-all term for grapnel guns, grappling hook guns, grappling guns, all of that. even harpoon guns sometimes. But
Hmm.
no, I'm cool with it. Honestly, it's a very they could have gone like the jump jet route, which is very tried and true sci-fi. But I feel like too many sci-fi games have done that, and I think this kind of like you know artistic and overall thematic return to simpler ideas and simpler themes. It matches up with the grappling hook pretty well because it's a very simple way to traverse terrain. It's like you don't have a bunch of jets to worry about or anything like that. It's just grab a point, shoot, grab, go. Like it's very simple, and I think it works. It kind of gives instead of it like a jump jet would be like a constant reminder of like the sci-fi element, the sci-fi setting, as opposed to a grappling hook which has like a more frontier, wild survival feel. So I think that works better for what I think they're going for. But yeah, I'm excited by what I saw today. I didn't know until I heard today that all future installments of Halo are supposed to be under the Halo Infinite banner. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
It definitely works for the name. It's like it's Halo 6 and to infinity. So and
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah. And I guess one thing to point out, sorry, Devin, before you go, is that all these games that they talked about are going to be available on Game Pass, which is pretty insane. And I mean, I guess we don't have clarification yet if they'll all be coming to xCloud, because I don't think every game on Game Pass is coming to xCloud, but it's possible that, well, we do know that first party titles will be coming to xCloud. So you'll be able to play Halo Infinite on a phone, on a laptop, somewhere else through Project xCloud and when it releases. So pretty insane that you're going to get access to all these games if you pay $15 for 1 month. You can play as many games as you wanted, resub whenever you want. Like, that's an insane proposition that, you know what, like Microsoft, I don't think they're interested in selling consoles. They're interested in selling you Game Pass, and at the value that you're getting, like, it's just something that everyone should be subscribed to because of what you get on PC and what you get on the Xbox. I'm not like trying to be a shill for Microsoft, but it's value that cannot be denied. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Mike,
1 second.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Right. So everything they showed, right? It was running on a PC. So one of the things, lots of people, if you're watching it, you can see kind of like stuff loading in really quick, but you can still see the pop in quite a few places. But it's not using like the Xbox Velocity architecture or any of that stuff to help with the loading and help with everything else. It's just running on a regular PC for this demo. So I'll be interested to see when they're actually. I mean, it was running on a PC with similar specs to a Series X, but I'll be interested to see one, on a higher end PC what it looks like, two, what it actually looks and runs like on the Series X. Granted, I mean it's 60 frames per second flawless is what they tell us, so that's the priority is the frame rate.
Right. All right. Mike, you want to take us to this next game that they showed off during their presentation?
I know that deep within our heart of hearts, we all have a soft spot for zombies.
Name all the zombies.
There are too many zombies. There's Zombie 1 and Zombie 2, Headless Zombie, Limping Zombie. State of Decay 3 was announced. Undead Labs is currently developing the next entry in its zombie survival series. You guys play zombie games?
Nope. I don't. Devin does. I know Devin does.
Devin, how do you feel about State of Decay being announced and coming out? Were you like, when you saw that deer?
When I saw that deer, I knew for sure it was State of Decay. Like looking at the characters, like this might be State of Decay, but I was thinking it was too early. I still think it was kind of too early for them to announce it, but because when they talk about it later, they're like, "Yeah, we're just in early pre-visualization for the game." So they're just working on ideas and getting stuff together. I think a lot of these things, since they didn't give a release date, are like end of 2021, maybe 2022 even. I would say, especially for State of Decay, I wouldn't expect it until 2022.
Is this one that you've been waiting for?
Not one that I've been waiting for. I mean, the one thing so State of Decay is an interesting zombie game because they also includes kind of like you have to build your old campsite, you have to run and maintain it, you have to keep people alive. I don't want to have to keep anybody alive. I'd rather just shoot them, move on.
Well, also State of Decay 2 wasn't like this made it seem like I don't know if it made it seem like this was going to be like a first person or third person game. State of Decay 2 wasn't it isometric? Am I thinking of the wrong thing? But I thought
Yep.
it was isometric viewpoint.
No.
And it only came out like 2 years ago, is that correct?
Yeah, it
Like
came
State
out.
of Decay was
Yeah, State of Decay 2 was out a little while ago because they've had a year 1 and a year 2 edition, basically. Juggernaut edition, which they
yeah, May
did all this
22,
stuff.
2018.
So, originally when this stuff was announced, like it's supposed to be an MMO type zombie game eventually, right? So whether State of Decay 3 actually fulfills that, I don't know. It's it's a fun game to play for a little while, but for me, just the maintaining the base is just something I'm not really into, and so it kind of
Right.
takes away from the zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it. You're not a team player. It's cool.
That is true. That could be part of it. JD, do you want to take us through the next announcement that they had?
Yeah, so Forza Motorsport. was
JD,
revealed.
is your mic farther away from you now? It seems like you've gotten super
No,
quiet.
I think I had to briefly mute it. I think it just readjusted.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so Forza Motorsport.
Now you're super loud, JD. Sorry.
Oh,
Just
Just
keep
back
it
up
going.
just a little bit. Yeah, just back up just a little bit. You're good. Right there's fine. Yep.
Okay.
Right there's good.
All right, we did it. Did it, pals. So Turn 10 Studios are back with another racing game, this time simply called Forza Motorsport. It's currently early in development, but it is said to run at 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing tech. The first trailer was captured entirely in engine, and as all Forza games do, looks beautiful. It's coming to Xbox Series X and Windows 10 PC, and is enhanced for the Series X. That thing, the graphics looked almost real.
Yeah.
At times. That is impressive.
It's another one where the big thing that people online are talking about was the cross gen stuff. But if you notice on many like this one again, it only had Xbox Series X and PC. So I think this one again, I don't know if it's coming out end of next year or maybe even 2022. So
Yeah, so this blurb came from IGN, and I know that they said this time it's simply called Forza Motorsport, but I can't imagine that they would not add a number to it. Just calling it Motorsport would be kind of weird unless they're doing like a Halo Infinite thing where they're just going to continue to update that platform. But the one thing, because I'm not a huge racing fan, especially the Motorsport, because it's way too simmy for me. I prefer the arcadey Forza Horizon series. But the cars look amazing, and they always do. But the trees and stuff around the cars, like, still, I don't think, like, if we're going photorealistic on the cars, I don't think we're there yet with the stuff surrounding it. And I guess when your cars look that good to where they look real, like your eyes automatically like pick out the things that are like, wait a minute, that looks fake, right? So, like, again, like you said, JD, like, it looks amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know how much better cars will get as we continue to make car games because they look super impressive now. But hey, maybe we can get someone to work on that tree tech or something. So, I'm excited for people to get Motorsport. I'm not.
well,
not
and
my jam,
they also
but
announced Horizon's getting an Series X patch, basically being optimized for Series X.
yeah, that's true. But
That-
again, I don't know if that's like, in my arcade racer, I don't know if I care that it needs to be like, hey, this needs to be a photorealistic car that you're gonna go jump over a bunch of trees and cows. You know what I mean?
Well, especially if you're playing with the Lego mode
Lego mode's
or the
pretty
Hot
awesome.
Wheels one.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Then they talked about, this is from Rare. This is the title that they announced last year. Yeah, was Everwild at E3 last year? It was.
Remember?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
it was
it was
announced last year.
because we got to see it. I could have gone and saw Keanu, but whatever. So Everwild is the new game coming out from Rare, and from what I could tell of this game, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong or not. So first of all, the game looks super interesting. I think this game is a puzzle game where you have to go around an island healing creatures that have been hurt. Like, I think that's what the game is. That's what I took from the trailer, because there's a lot of different creatures around. It looks like maybe you're just like trying to populate this island. It's like some kind of like zoo game where you just find creatures, you feed creatures, like you increase your bond with them, and that's what the game is. Because it didn't look like there's any type of combat. It didn't look like there's any type of like, switching up gear or anything. I think it was like, hey, go heal this island, and this is what you do as a group of friends. I mean, is that what you guys got from this game? Am I reading that completely wrong?
Yeah, I didn't really get that vibe. To me, it seemed like they were witches. No. But no, I mean, the game looks great. I don't really know. I think based on what they're saying, I mean, they're still prototyping many things in that game. I mean, that again, it has the same connotation on the bottom where it just says Series X and PC. So I don't know when it's coming out. So I don't know how far into the actual, game
Like
is.
the dev cycle?
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
well, if we think of Sea of Thieves was announced at an E3, and then it went into like an alpha for a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very possible that they're going to do the same thing. They're just going to start bringing people in super early, and that's very much what Sea of Thieves was. They're like, hey, this is the sandbox. Here's the sandbox. Help us kind of figure out what this is. And I think Rare has already gotten kind of that flow down. So if they can do that again, I mean, look what they did with Sea of Thieves. I mean, Sea of Thieves just celebrated its 15th million user or whatever. So if they can do that again with Everwild, then just keep doing what you do. So yeah, that was just kind of the vibe I got from it. Mike, what did you think of Everwild?
So I got a lot of kind of Ori vibes, and that was just I'm gonna assume was just the stylization choices. It looks super cool. I bet it's not just moving around and healing things. I bet that's a key mechanic and maybe a key part of the storytelling. I mean, this could very much be a Fern Gully type. Something has come to destroy this habitat and destroy this environment of all these creatures that share a life force, and our job is to go beat back the darkness, kind of thing. So I could see that coming out of it.
Do you meet a bat? Do you meet a bat creature?
You do meet a
Batty?
bat. Unfortunately, Batty
wires
will
out of
never
his
be
head?
able to be
Does
never
he
be able
rap?
to be replaced because of who he was voiced by, and that's a sad kind of thing. Well, Rob
Yeah, that is
Williams
kinda
just
sad.
celebrated a birthday recently, within the last week or so. Anyway, so I could see it being a Fern Gully type. I could see it even. A lot of things are going like when we were talking about State of Decay. A lot of games feel like they're going to here's your settlement, build it, maintain it, and that could be one of the things you have to do to keep the peace, kind of, keep the creatures kind of in harmony with each other, and that kind of thing. So I mean, I think there could be a lot of things going on with this one. It looks pretty, right?
Yeah.
So definitely give it a shot, give it a chance, and see
It's coming to
how it
Game
do.
Pass, so you already get it.
Yeah, you
right?
better.
Yeah.
You may as well try it, right?
Yeah. All right, Devin, what's up next? Phaedron,
All right.
You're not late. You're okay.
He's always late.
Phaedron's come in just to make fun of Devin. So
Probably.
Go ahead,
Right. Nintendo hasn't shown off any games for the last.
And there we go.
Anyway, so they showed off Tell Me Why, right? So they give the release date, comes out it's episodic, whatever, how you say that.
episodic is the word.
Episodic
You know,
is correct.
Episodic.
Soda,
Episodic is
soda
the
pop.
Episodic is not
It's
a word.
episoda.
Episode of
Episodic
Pop.
is not
That's just a
word.
brand.
Yeah. But anyway, so they announced the release date for that. Right, so it's not a first party, but it's being released by Microsoft, right? Publishing. So
They're publishing it, yeah.
yeah, so it comes out August 22nd. It says you play as the twins Tyler and Allison, who share a supernatural bond. You'll explore their troubled lives in small town Alaska, set over 3 chapters beginning in August. So 2 more chapters to come after the first one. Again, everything they
That's how
showed off
math
today.
works.
It's true. Maybe, I don't know. But everything again is all on Game Pass, which is so crazy. Like everything they showed today, I think that was one of the things that most people look over. Steven's already talked about it. Just it's crazy. Everything is coming to Game Pass this year.
Why do you think that's
Yeah.
crazy?
Because it's such a huge value, and people.
Yeah.
If you go online like I do, the internet tends to mock
You-
anything that Xbox does.
You gotta
Um,
stop going online. Man.
I
Like,
know-
there's problem one.
I
Problem
eat,
one.
sleep, and
Okay.
breathe that online internet.
I understand, which is why you have no hair currently. So
No, I have no hair because I cut it,
there you go.
and I'm losing it.
There
But
you
no, it's just it frustrates me even when like Microsoft posts, how just like yesterday all the good information, how much the Xbox division has grown year over year, all this stuff. But I think it was important. I mean, because there's nobody even close. None of Nintendo can't touch it. PlayStation can't touch it. It's so good of a value. I don't see any reason why you
so then
wouldn't
why
do
do
it.
you say it's so then why the surprise that everything's coming to Game Pass? Doesn't that seem just like a natural?
No, it's
Does that
because you can
seem
play
to
these.
go?
It's because you can play these $60 games for $15 a month, and you get access to the entire first-party library for that much money. Like that's an insane value to get to
Well-
play something for that cheap.
Well, yeah, but until after the first month, these games leave Game Pass.
Well, first-party
so-
titles will never leave Game
Yeah,
Pass.
they don't. First party titles don't leave Game Pass.
Okay, well that's fine and good and all, but you understand what I'm saying that
No, I
that-
totally understand.
right?
So
Because then they're there for a month. You play them, you're hooked. Your kids are hooked, which is why.
Yeah, but
is
then if
why
you have
I-
Game Pass, you can buy it for cheaper.
Well,
mean,
no,
I-
because when the game leaves Game Pass, you still have to pay retail.
well,
correct?
it,
Buy
it
it before it
warns you
leaves.
before. Yeah, it warns you before a game leaves, so you can buy it. I think the big thing
Well,
is like
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's like as I don't know what the word Devin was using, interesting as it really seems. It just seems like a good tool, and that's where we are.
no, it's an insane value.
I
be-
understand, and I think everybody should be on Game Pass, right? If you're not, then you're missing out on tons and tons of stuff. But I definitely think there's method to the madness where you feel like you're getting all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think pretty soon we're all gonna have Microsoft chips inside our brains, and we're just
probably
gonna
we
download,
probably
right?
already we probably
already
already
said-
do.
How many user end agreements have we said yes to that have said that they're allowed to do that, and we just haven't read it?
We just haven't read all
Probably.
of it.
We just
I
haven't
like
read
it.
them all, right?
I look
Like
forward
you-
to the 500 of the Freelancer Codex podcast where one of us just suddenly shuts off to update because of Windows Update just showing up at the weirdest times.
Yeah. But to like go back to Devin's point of like the hatred that Microsoft gets, like granted, a lot of that was deserved in like 2013.
Yeah.
Although, like, I mean, Microsoft was ahead of the game with a lot of their digital distribution and stuff because a lot of that stuff we're doing now anyway. The world just wasn't ready to hear it, and Sony capitalized on it hard, like they should, because they're competitors. That's what they do.
Business.
And Sony, like, I mean, Sony killed it this generation. Like, there's no doubt about that they have just dominated this generation with great first party titles. Granted, they're all third person games, but they're amazing titles that like no one can say like, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn was a trash game, right? Like if you say stuff like that, then we know that you're just like, okay, whatever, dude. Like we can't take you seriously. Like, and Microsoft struggled for all those years until Spencer took over and Don Matrick went off to did he go to Zynga? No, he didn't go to Zynga.
Yeah, he went there.
Where did
He went to Zynga.
With the
well, he
Zynga.
must be gone because
Yeah,
my
he's
stocks
gone
are doing
already.
good. Yeah, I was gonna say because my stocks are doing good, and anywhere where Matrick goes, stocks don't do good. So, like, granted, like Microsoft has had this huge hill to climb, and they're doing that on the back of Game Pass. I mean, that is such a good value, and it's garnishing such goodwill for player bases that it's helping them get back to where they need to be competitive. Because right now, like Nintendo does its own thing, and Nintendo has IPs that are just going to sell no matter what, right? Sony has IPs that are going to sell no matter what right now. I mean, they have studios that are doing amazing work. Like, hey, Microsoft needs to get back to that point where their IPs, like, sell. And that's why they're getting back to the roots, I think, of what made Halo back in the day. I mean, when you see the Halo 2 launch parties and like thousands of people lined up and like news reporters going out on the street to talk to people that are picking up Halo 2, that's what they're trying to get back to. And that's what Halo Infinite is trying to do for them. And they're going to do all of this on the back of Game Pass because just like the Netflix model, just like every other subscription service that people have, like that is the model going forward that is going to keep people in their ecosystem, because it's not about selling the box. It's not about selling Microsoft Series X. It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about being in an ecosystem that forces you to stay there because of the value. The games, being able to play those games on xCloud, wherever you are, first party, like that is value that you just can't find anywhere else right now. So
Yeah.
Sony and Nintendo are going to have to do something about that. I mean, Nintendo, they probably won't care. They'll probably just be like, we'll release another console and you'll buy Zelda. And that's good enough for them, right? Because we don't expect like huge changes to those IPs. But for Sony and Microsoft, they've got to figure out how to combat this. Luckily for like everyone, like Stadia has made so many missteps in the beginning that they're not a competitor right now, and they definitely should be. There's like no reason that Stadia should not be a major competitor right now, but it's because that value isn't there, because they want you to buy the game still, right? They want you to pay the 120 to get their controller and their dealie that you plug into the dealie, and they still want to sell you the $60 game. If Stadia came out and they were like $15, access to all these games, it'd be a much different conversation right now. In the space. I just talked a lot and I don't remember what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about Tell Me Why, and then we went off
Mike,
into...
does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, I mean, truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going. Where was I? All right. So tell me why it was actually announced earlier. I thought this was going to be one of the new IPs, but this is not.
No, they showed it off last year as their new thing.
I just didn't remember because I don't know. Probably because everyone was freaking out about Keanu still, and this is one that was like right after Keanu. All right, so tell me why released, and that's going to be an episodic thing. Mike, will you? I mean, do we need to talk about the Ori and the Will of the Wisps thing? I mean, it's going to get an update for Series X. Is that something that we need to like discuss?
I thought it was. I mean, it's cool if you want to watch the video. It's pretty cool. You can actually see the difference between 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second, and they talk about the benefit of that. So I mean, they have a little video you can check out, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, we don't really need to go into any more than that.
I think we just did.
I think Ori is one of the best new IPs that we've had in a really long time. I mean, those are fantastic games. Those are gorgeous looking games. So everyone should go play
I don't
Ori.
play games on TV, Phaedron. I'm not a plebe.
All right, you guys knock it off. All right.
Has it started already?
Yeah, it has, because Phaedron got in. They just got to go. JD, do you want to talk about Outer Worlds?
Yeah. So that great game that came out, what was it, tail end of 2019? The Outer Worlds, another Xbox Game Pass title. They just announced the Peril on Gorgon DLC. It's coming on September 9th. It's going to be a brand new expansion for the Outer Worlds, Obsidian's well-received sci-fi RPG. This noir-flavored adventure takes players to the new Gorgon asteroid location and provides new quests, weapons, armor, perks, and flaws. Xbox Game Pass subscribers can get the Outer Worlds expansions or the full expansion pass, which contains at least one more adventure for a 10% discount. I don't know about you guys. I wasn't on the show much then either to really talk to you guys if any of you guys had really been playing the Outer Worlds, but I really like the Outer Worlds. I was really excited to hear about the DLC. Also, I don't know if they're going to be doing stuff like this for all Game Pass titles, but that does kind of make sense for like how like individual developers are getting more money for the games that they make by like having like, yeah, you can get the expansion and things like that, but it's going to be for a discount if you have Game Pass. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Devin.
Well, as I say, they said this is the first of two, right? So there's one more expansion coming after this, and make some cool stuff. I enjoyed the little bit I played of it. It's just I just don't have enough time for that big of an RPG. I mean, breaking it up into smaller chunks. I mean, some guy beat it in, speed ran it in under an hour or something like that. Something ridiculous.
No, they did it even faster. There's something that
like
you
12
could
minutes.
Do there's something you could do to create an end state in the game super early in the game. So, I mean, if you want to go and play it, Devin, you could just follow that guide and do it and be like, "Yep, beat it." So here you go,
Beat
got my
it.
achievement done. I already played that game.
Yeah.
It wasn't a game I was like super hot on, so I mean, I'm excited to get more. I'm excited people that like that game can get more content from that game. So, Grounded, Devin. I mean, this is a game that you have been playing a lot of when the beta or the alpha was up. I forget which one
they had
had.
the tech alpha that came out. I mean, it only lets you play for 30 minutes at a time, so it was a little tough to accomplish much because it resets at 30 minutes. And
That's super frustrating. That's weird.
yeah, it was really weird that they did that, but I mean, it's coming out in the preview program, so they're building it with the community. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun to play. Again, Game Pass, you can get it and play it. 4 players if you want. It's the kind of thing you still have to build your base, but you're kind of surviving. It just has a different, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibe, but with violence and killing and stuff. And I mean, for Steven, you can turn off the spiders, although I think it makes them look really weird because they're just like blobs that are coming at you instead of spiders. When you turn on the arachnophobia mode.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So, because you're like a small person, they're giant spiders, and so
Well, I mean,
somebody
I
at the
get
studio
that,
must be arachnophobia,
Arachnophobic.
and so they created it for people, and it was a lot of fun when I was playing it, and I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, this is a game that I will hard pass on because just not for me.
I mean, it's free on
I'll
Game
skip it.
Pass, Steven, right?
What did
I
you
will
just
still
say?
skip it on Game Pass.
What
I don't
did
know
you
what.
just say? He didn't say Game Pass.
Yeah, it says
What did you
free
call
on
it,
Game Pass.
No, you
Oh,
went
maybe
Game
you
Pass.
Game Pass.
You said it was Game Pass. Oh, boy.
The next thing
It's
that
on
Obsidian
stream.
showed off, because this is from Obsidian, they showed off Avowed, and this is their new RPG. The thing that they showed off, they showed an arrow flying through the sky for like forever, right?
Pretty good archer.
And at the end, we see a first-person view of our character picking up a sword, and then in their left hand doing like some magical symbol, and their hand starts to glow purple. So this is actually a new IP from Obsidian, and it is called Avowed, and I don't know when this is going to come out. I mean, I think is a super early release also. This probably isn't coming out till 2022, 2023, maybe. I mean, big games like this, it's not like they've got quick turnaround. But I mean, from the trailer, from what you can glean from a trailer, it looks, like maybe this is going to be Skyrim for, a future generation. I don't know. So we'll see.
It's
I feel
first person.
I feel like it could be very much VR, just like with the way that your hands were being held and how you had to like make a motion to activate whatever spell he used in his hand. I thought, oh, that could be VR.
I mean, that would be a really cool VR game, or even just a mode, especially if it is coming. It will be coming to Xbox on PC, I'm guessing. Maybe it will. I don't know. I guess all their stuff is coming from... All their first-party titles are going to Xbox and PC. Is that correct, Evan, or am I
Correct.
misspeaking?
Yep, all first-party titles come to PC for Windows, but they did, like, even Halo, they announced it's coming to Steam as well, right when it launches. So if you don't like to buy it from the Windows Store, you don't want to use Game Pass, you can buy it on Steam for full price, if that's your jam.
Yeah. And Phaedron, we'll talk about Fable here in a minute at the end since it's way down there. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if there was a VR thing about it. So, Mike, do you want to talk? Go ahead.
Well,
Jamie.
can I just say real quick, because I saw it brought up on Twitter earlier, but so I know that a lot of people like first person like RPGs, and like we were seeing a lot more of them. But I just wanted to like bring up real quick, like should we get in the habit of like encouraging developers to like have a first person and a third person option? Because I don't know about you guys. I know some people enjoy first person RPGs. I know I enjoy having the choice of like first person or third person, like your Skyrims, your Fallouts, your Grand Theft Auto 5s. Like I prefer having the option of shifting perspective, and like for somebody who doesn't really like first person, it's but really loves RPGs, it's always a very off-putting element. And I thought that like Obsidian had maybe like not done that with The Outer Worlds because it was their first game under the Microsoft banner, and they maybe didn't have the biggest amount of budget or resources to put in both. but it seems like Avowed is also going the same way.
Well,
So,
yeah, Avowed's just doing it's first person for. I mean, that's the description they give. It's first person RPG for Avowed, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of extra details. It's just like with Cyberpunk, they took out the third person because of how much extra work it is to put in the third person.
But I mean, in that game though, you can still see your reflection in mirrors and stuff. So the
Yeah.
character model is there.
I'm sure you're still gonna see your character in Avowed where you put on your
Oh, you're
armor
probably
and other things.
Well, yeah, and then
I
the
much
Outer
prefer
Worlds,
the
you
third
got
person, right? It's where you can actually see what you're putting on, and you know that's part of the fun of creating your character is being able to see your character.
I think one of the things that we've been talking about, we've been having a couple conversations about like art and the creator of the art, and like what do we like, are we able to force the artist to do something just because we want it that way, or should the artist have the ability to fulfill their vision, right? So I don't know. That's a hard question, JD, because there are definitely a lot of games that, like Star Wars Squadrons, right? We know that game is first person only in the cockpit. I think that's a bad idea for that game. I would much rather have like a third person view of my spaceship as I fly around it, because that's how I prefer to play my the games like that anyway.
same.
But I don't know. I don't know if like forcing or expecting developers to do that is the right thing. Like I would love it if they had the option, because I mean that seems like that's an easy option in a game like that, especially in a game like that where they've modeled the X-wing anyway, and all you have to do is like back out, and you're not really changing a ton of things on a ship. But I don't know. I don't know if it's easy as saying like, hey, you just have to have a first person. And I mean, can you imagine playing Destiny 2 in third person? I mean, that would change that up.
You do when you use certain weapons.
Well, when
use certain
you
things.
have a sword, but like doing it all the time, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, like that's just the thought I had earlier. Not to mention I know that the internet can be nasty sometimes, but I love some of the avowed shade of their like yeah, Obsidian already proved they can do Fallout better. Now they're gonna do Skyrim better too. So or the other. I should say.
I do, to Phaedron's comment in there about Avowed, when Microsoft purchased Obsidian, they were already working on multiple games. Because, like, this is the game they're putting out, The Outer Worlds, that's put out by Private Division, right? So they already had a publisher for that. Who knows how long they've been working on Avowed? Because he was talking about, we know more about that versus Fable. We don't know how long they've been working on it. They didn't give a release date, and I'm guessing just by them only listing Series X and PC that it's at least 2 years out. But I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I guess. Let's see. We can go on and talk about As Dusk Falls, or we've already been talking about for close to an hour. Do you guys want to skip through a couple of these, or do you want to talk about each of them? I mean, like Psychonauts, I don't think I have much to say about Psychonauts, other than it looks like someone on an acid trip. And I mean, getting Jack Black to sing a song is always fun, because Jack Black's,
well, he does a lot of stuff for their games.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed that it wasn't like I see Jack Black and Tim Schafer, and I was just disappointed it wasn't another Brutal Legend. And I love that game so much. I still want a sequel, but maybe another day.
Yeah, they also announced that Psychonauts 2 got pushed to 2021 today as well.
Okay.
That's the second delay for it, but it's getting delayed because they're able to add so much more content in it because Microsoft is footing the bill for it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Being able to make the game they want to make.
Yeah. Mike, is there anything on this list that you want to touch on, like specifically?
So of all the games that were shown, there were some that were pleasing to your eyes, right? If you just look at it that way. So As Dusk Falls had an animation style that was neat. I guess for that was about it for me. I'm not like super on board with the story. It seems from the trailer, it seems too convoluted, and maybe it's supposed to because of what it is. It's almost like it seemed like it's almost a like murder mystery type. So you're supposed to have the details out of order kind of thing. So I mean, whatever. It looked maybe interesting, at least from a. I guess I could say I would rather maybe watch that movie than play that game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes
From the
sense.
from the rest of the list, definitely Destiny 2 because there's more stuff. I guess not more stuff because of what's happening. It coming to Game Pass and everything um, in the canon being available to play, right? Becoming free to play, through Game Pass. So that's going to be exciting. It'll be exciting for those who maybe like myself have fallen off and kind of like needed a little bit more incentive to get back in versus buying a brand new game. So maybe I'll touch on that. Maybe I'll go back to that
Don't do
once
it,
it
Mike.
comes out.
Once you get rid
You
of
know
the
what?
drugs, you need to stop doing them. All right.
I understand you're supposed to pour them down the sink, and so I get that, and so, but you know what? As I was talking and trying to connect all these dots from the beginning of the show to right now, just trying to get back into gaming and finding that niche again and finding that drive again, that could be something that at least gets you going to set aside that time to
Yeah.
get in, right? Watching the trailer was cool. There's a lot of new things in Destiny 2 that I have not played with, right? I played with a bow for a little bit. Because when you first get that ability, the hunter has it, and that was my character. And so I played with a bow. It looked like there was a mage stick kind of thing, like a battle axe type. So there's definitely more melee weapons in the game now than what there were when I left. The guns.
Yeah, and with the new light, I think you're getting access to a whole new super because you're not using the light anymore. You're using the darkness.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're getting
and then-
access to a
and
lot
then
of
for that matter, there's that whole story, right? There's that whole story on when you finish fighting Gaul and stuff. That's who
Yeah,
the
'cause
dude.
that-
That's who the
yeah,
dude
'cause-
from Halo reminded me of was Gaul.
Oh
Um,
yeah, good point. It looks
yeah.
very similar.
So like there's at least enough reason to get back into Destiny for the story part of it, to figure out exactly where we are, figure out where all these characters are that we like. Like I still don't know what happens to Cade. Like I think I know because of what the internet says and kind of glimpses at it. I still don't know what happened, right? I don't know what the brother is up to. So it'd be interesting to see kind of what is going on with him. Aside from that, the rest of the games, the Tetris game looked interesting, only for the fact that I'm pretty fond of the Tetris game because I was so good at it in high school.
Oh yeah, sure. You lying sack.
Right? So it was kind of neat to see the different game modes that it had, and like I thought, when the little thumbnails of the people playing kind of fell into the spot, I thought, wow, that would be kind of interesting to play with if that was a game mode. And I don't assume it was a game mode, but it very well could be. But then the way that all the boards came together and you could play like multiplayer with it and either help people or screw people up.
Could you imagine if there was a mode in Tetris where you turned on your video camera and it brought in everyone's feed and put it on a block? Can you imagine the abuse that mode would receive from the internet? You're like, yeah, it's like I am not going to connect this, big old line of, anyway. There's a lot of things that would happen there.
It would be.
No, it would be a thing. There'd be
Steven
a lot
and I
of
could not
pictures
play
of-
Tetris.
No, we
No,
couldn't.
you couldn't.
The
For the rest of the
interesting thing
games-
about this,
Yeah, I know, it's
before
so
you
boring.
before you move on from Tetris Effect, because Tetris Effect is a game that came out on PSVR and then it's come to Epic. So this isn't like a new IP. It's like an expansion to Tetris Effect. But it's weird that it's coming to Xbox first. It will come to other places. I imagine it'll come to PlayStation 5 later. So it is weird that they got that marketing deal away from Sony, because that was a pretty big title for PlayStation VR when it came out. Like, I have Tetris Effect. It's a really cool chill game to play. You don't have to be like super into Tetris in order to beat it, and it does some really cool musical things. So like, yeah, kind of interesting that they showed it off here. It doesn't scream like, hey, Xbox, play Tetris, right? I would rather just go get an old school Game Boy and play 8-bit Tetris all day long. But
Right.
like, hey, it's Tetris. It sells a lot, and I think the whole country of Russia is still in the black because of Tetris.
Tetris.
Like,
And it's just
because
a
of
simple,
Tetris.
and it's the thing that's awesome about it is that it's just a simple concept, but like that game I think is the game that taught me how to clean my room. and like put stuff away and find
Yeah.
places for things. So I'm really eager to get my kids on it because they can't clean their room. And so
No, I get you.
I think that's where it comes from. I really do think that like my ability to do that, my spatial awareness, has benefited from Tetris. From the rest of the games on the list, it definitely seems like zombies are the creature of choice during this time, which is odd because what the whole nation is going through, and then this whole thing. So zombies, you're like, oh, it kind of fits, I guess. And I'm not a zombie person, so a lot of the games I think I'll pass over. But there are some other cool stuff that's out there, things that I would like to say that I'm gonna try, but uh, you know, it is
No,
what it is.
it's fine.
So,
You don't have to like everything. JD, is there anything else on this list that stands out to you?
Yeah, I was a little bit excited for what is it? Warhammer 40K Dark Tide.
Yeah.
I like so truth be told, I've never really like played a game that's Warhammer 40K. I've never partaken in any kind of Warhammer 40K. It's always just looked really cool to me. I've been looking at maybe playing a couple of games on PC, since apparently there's some really good ones. But I'm hoping that Dark Tide is going to be a good place to jump in. I heard Vermintide was pretty good. I'm excited. I've been kind of catching up on the lore for Warhammer, which there's a lot of lore for it.
Yep.
Like just as I'm like cleaning and stuff, I'll have like a playlist playing on my phone in the background, learning about the Imperium and the Emperor and all the cool stuff, and it is pretty fascinating. And then not too sure about Phantasy Star Online 2. I used to play Phantasy Star Universe, I think, or whichever the one that was the Xbox 360 one. So I'm excited. I was excited for it coming out on Xbox. I'm excited for New Genesis. I haven't had the opportunity to check it out yet on Xbox or anything like that. Crossfire X, that looks. I haven't played the game, but the campaign looks pretty cool. The suit looks cool, and then of course, there's Fable.
We'll talk about Fable at the end here, but
Yeah.
Crossfire X actually it's being developed by Remedy. Crossfire X is a mobile game. No, I think it's Crossfire X. It's a mobile game over in I think it's a
China?
Chinese game. Devin, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's huge in China.
It's one of the biggest games in the world, and Remedy's doing the single player portion for it, which looks super super interesting. And I know I always complain that you're just shooting a lot of people, but actually, like I like what Remedy has done recently, so I'm kind of more apt to try this out, especially because it's coming to Game Pass. So it's be like a no brainer not to. Or it would be I should just play it because it is coming to Game Pass. It's really late, so I thought it looks really cool. I'm excited to try it. I thought it looked it was probably one of the more exciting looking titles that we saw. Devin, is this something you're gonna jump into?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check it out. It looked cool. I tried the technical alpha for the multiplayer. It wasn't very good, but that's made by a completely different studio. So, yeah, I mean, Remedy's making it. They announced it, I think, 2 years ago, or
Yeah.
I believe at least. So,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
honestly, I'm really surprised how much Remedy is getting done. Because all the time when they were making games exclusively for Microsoft, they kept getting delays over and over again and couldn't manage to get a game out in like 3 years. So it's crazy how much they're doing now, and how good they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm excited for more Control because that's an amazing game. The Gunk, I guess the name of the game is The Gunk, is a really interesting looking title. It's very stylized. It looks like you land on a planet. You have to go clean up the planet so plants can grow. That title looked pretty interesting to me. I'm excited to see more of it. Because all we had right now was kind of like, hey, go onto this island or this planet and go clean it up. So I'm excited to see more of that. Because that is a new IP. It's a brand new IP that we haven't seen of anymore. So I'm excited to try brand new IPs that do not just involve me shooting people in the head. So I'm excited for The Gunk. So they showed off the medium again. The medium is something that they showed off when did they show this off? I don't think was it during the Game Awards. 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't think it was during.
When was it?
I think
they
it was
they showed it off sometime last year.
Yeah, they showed it off sometime last year. I don't think it was at E3, but this game looks trippy, right? So our protagonist is a lady that is going like searching for something, and it seems like you're able to swap between dimensions. And there's like a light dimension, and then there's a freaky like hellscape dimension that you swap between. Like I don't like creepy games, but this looked really interesting to me. So I think I might try it. Maybe I'll stream it and we'll get live reactions of me screaming when I get scared.
I'm interested to
But
see if they're actually showing, like, because they showed both worlds side by side. And so, like, do you think that they're actually doing both side by side on the screen that you can see as it's going and you move?
No,
And
I bet,
go through stuff?
I bet they looked at the same cutscene type thing with.
Well, I mean, it said it
with
was they were both being rendered at the same time. So
do you remember?
Maybe since you're a medium, you can like
you can
that's
see
how
both worlds.
Maybe you're able to kind of see and discern what people are really up to and what they're doing.
I think it's going to be a Titanfall 2 situation where you can swap on the fly between the two dimensions, and that's how you'll kind of solve puzzles. Like in this dimension, this is impassable. But if you go over here, you have to cut up this flesh wall that has been stitched together with a knife, and it'll bleed all over you, but then you can pass through it. Yeah. So that'll be really interesting. I'm excited to check what that is all about. So
Game Pass.
That should be pretty cool. Yep, coming to Game Pass. All right. So I also, JD, I'm excited about Darktide. The Warhammer universe is super cool just because it's insane. Like giant spaceships with giant monoliths, like Emperor Kings, like Space Marines that have 4 different stomachs and 5 different hearts so that they can keep on fighting. It's a cool universe. Like Warhammer is what most things are based off of in fantasy. Like without Warhammer or without Warhammer 40K, we would not have Warcraft, we would not have StarCraft, we would not have a lot of things that we do have. I mean, that's how old the IP is. It just goes way back. So I'm excited to, I mean, more Warhammer is always cool. All right, so let's talk about, Devin, what are you laughing at?
I just tricked my dog. She was asking for more screen time, and I clicked don't approve, but it still clicked, so she thought she got more time, and she was like, yeah, and ran off. Only she's just now finding out that there's no more time.
Yeah, so she's going to come back in like 30 seconds.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so she'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, let's talk about Fable. We have known that Playground has been working on this for years, right? It's been rumored for a really long time.
2 years.
Last year we were told by someone in the industry that it was not happening and it was a rumor, right? Liar, okay? Yeah, we'll call you a liar. You told us wrong. They've been working on this game for a really long time. I am surprised that we do not have more than just a pre-rendered trailer of a fairy flying around and getting eaten by a frog.
I'm not surprised.
You were not surprised?
No, they have to build the entire team, right? So they started a second team to make this game, right? It's supposed to be a
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It's supposed to be a huge epic game. How long did it take to make Anthem? They worked on that for 6 years.
18
6
months, Devin.
years.
18
All right.
months.
Yes, true. 18 months is what they actually worked on it, but they were working on it for 6 years. So they want this game to be a huge, mega success, right? They showed off that little teaser CGI, but that's supposed to be like the art direction, the way the game is supposed to look. Based upon what insiders have said online, was they were going to show just this little teaser. It was just supposed to give you kind of an idea of where the art style is going to go. Right? I thought it was a hilarious teaser, and I'm totally fine with it. Because I want them to take their time and to make an amazing game so people online can shut up and stop complaining about everything that Xbox Studios.
Well, that's never going to happen. So that's a weird
I
thing
know.
that you want to happen.
But
so
I just want them to shut up
understand,
because I'm so tired of them whining about everything.
So calm down, all right, Xbox ambassador Devin. I actually was not a fan of the teaser. I know that like Fable was like jokey and had its own style of humor.
It didn't make you laugh?
No, it didn't. It was very British humor. But
That was
like
hilarious.
I didn't. So we have the fairy going through, and you're like, oh, okay, and then a frog eats her. And then if that's your trailer, like the tone of that game, like if you knew nothing about Fable, like what do you think that game is? Because there's a lot of people that know nothing about Fable.
Yeah, but they didn't make that for the people who knew nothing about Fable, right?
No, this is the first time you were showing off a title.
Yeah,
This
but
is your first teaser to get people
their
interested.
only
in
reason
a
they're
new
making it is because all the fans have been asking for it. People that have been asking for it, that's what they're making this game for. It's fan service. So they didn't make it for people who don't know about the game. They're doing this to show it off for people who play the games, who love Fable for what it is, and they're showing them, yes, we're making Fable. It's going in the same direction as we already had, and this is the art style.
Well, as someone that has loved Fable and like bought Fable, like followed the development of that game. Do you remember when they were talking about this game has been in development for 10 years? If you plant a seed here, this tree will grow and all your decisions will matter, right? So I really
Peter
like
lies
the
to
Fable
everybody,
franchise.
okay?
He does. I really like the Fable franchise, but for someone that likes that franchise, like this trailer did nothing for me. I'm just like, I would almost rather have seen nothing than the trailer that I got. JD?
I'm in the same boat. I thought the trailer was funny, but I couldn't agree more with Steven right now, because like, look, it, even if it's fan service, even if it's they're doing it to bring it back, and they're doing it for the fans and stuff like that. Like the reboot, like like the title is indicative of a reboot. Like it's not Fable 4,
Yep.
it's Fable. And it's like a fresh start, kind of. And the whole thing is that usually with a fresh start, you got a fresh audience, and if you're not taking that into account, you're not doing your job right as a marketing representative. You got to be aware of every audience, or everybody that could potentially want in on this. And it's like, what we had, Fable 3 came out, what, I think my freshman year of college, so almost 10 years ago now, or like 10 years ago now. And it's like, I like there's totally new gamers out there who have never played a single Fable game in their life, that probably watched the Xbox Game Showcase, and then just you have no idea what this is. And it just seems like it just came across like a really like whimsical and silly game. And like for me, like I played Fable, I played Fable 2, I played Fable 3. Fable 3 was easily the most whimsical of the bunch, but like I remember like just the like some of the horror and emotional distress of 1 and 2, and even some of the darker moments of 3. Like it's not just that. And I feel like if you're gonna return a franchise after a long time away, you gotta show us what it's all about. You got to remind the audience that you still know what it's about. Even for the people that are returning, because you got new people, you got old people. We need to know that you know the dance and you know the steps, because otherwise we're not going to trust you on the dance floor.
And how do you not go with the chicken, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not go with the chicken and you go with the frog and the fairy? Mike, Fable, does this like interested? Like, does it do anything for you?
It's in the realm of like fantasy stuff where you're like, okay, this could be a thing. I know nothing about it. I'm not invested in it.
Okay, so you're like a perfect case for our discussion here. As someone that knows nothing about Fable, like, does this trailer get you interested to know more or want to play more of this game?
I definitely don't know what the game is. I don't know what the franchise is. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is. I don't know if you're a frog and you're trying to eat fairies. I don't know if you're a fairy and you're trying to survive a frog. You do see like a town in the background, so it could be totally different. You could just be a human who's a blacksmith who builds weapons for people. Like I have no idea what this is or could be. So
it's Forza Fire, Mike, right? That's different show.
Okay,
different show,
which is fine. But so I'm not sure. I don't know what it is, what it could be. And
but did it pique your interest?
Not really. I've heard the name Fable around, but I don't know.
But as someone who doesn't really play video games, does his opinion really count? No, just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Probably not. I mean,
everybody's opinion counts.
Halo
right?
sucks and is the worst thing on the planet. So whatever.
When you can't play a game, it is definitely not fun to play it. But.
Oh man.
So after talking about all these games, there is one thing that that was brought up in our Discord when we were talking about third or first party titles, like comparing the titles that we saw here to the first party titles that Sony has, right? So Microsoft has been buying a ton of studios. They have 15 first party studios.
Yep.
And the discussion that we were having in the Discord is that it doesn't seem like, especially from the stuff that was shown today, that Microsoft does not have one of those first party titles that fills in the gap or fills in the space of an Uncharted or a Last of Us or a Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Does it feel like to you guys that we're still missing that big budget AAA title game that it needs to really win over hardcore fans?
For me, I don't even when they have that, right? I don't think it's gonna make a difference, honestly. Um, People are still just gonna complain about it. You know, they tried to do everything they could with Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, and getting exclusives and all that stuff, and they just got torn apart on the internet for paying for an exclusive because they're Xbox. When they're a-okay with it when it's Sony, but I think they're still. They only showed stuff from 9 of their 15 studios, right? They have the initiative. We don't know what they're making.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that could be where that type of title comes from. And I think that that's totally fine. I mean, one of the other things in the Discord was there are different things, right? Like Sony can't make a shooter game to save their life versus they make great, first person single player stories. There's no doubt about it. They make great story games, and that's what they do. But that also took them, 10+ years to get to the point to where they could do that stuff. So I mean, we can't just be like, oh, hey, Sony does amazing. Yeah, they're amazing now, but their games sucked 10 years ago, right? They were nothing special, nothing to write home about 10 years ago, and it takes a lot of time and effort to get to that point. And I think that's what Microsoft is trying to do: is give the developers the freedom and the choice and the time and money to be able to make the games they want, to be able to make these big type of titles. But I mean, it is missing, obviously, because people talk about it. So we'll see whenever it finally does come out. But I don't think we're going to see anything like that for probably 2 years at the earliest.
Yeah. I do think one of the nice things about this generation is with the ability to play all of these games on the Xbox that you own, or coming to PC, or coming to xCloud in September, like the ability to play these games and play Sony games if you own that console has just become so much easier, correct? Like previously, like especially with kids growing up, usually it's like, hey, this is the box you get. This is the box that you'll defend with your life on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the ability to get Game Pass on PC, xCloud, it like brings those barriers down to where most people can own both consoles and enjoy both things. Like, hey, you can have your Last of Us, you can have your Ghost of Tsushima, and you can go play these titles over here via Game Pass and get access to Halo, get access to Fable whenever it releases. So hopefully, and this probably won't ever happen because it's the internet and people love to plant their flags on the plastic box that they buy. That's just what the internet does. And those people aren't the people that we're talking to anyway, right? We enjoy talking to sane people that enjoy video games no matter where you play it. Like Devin loves to play the part of the Xbox ambassador, but it just seems like it's going to get so much easier in order to play games everywhere.
Yep.
So like even if Xbox does not have those third person first party games, like we can still go play Spider-Man on the PlayStation, right? It just makes that decision to me, I think, a little bit easier to be like for me, I'm going to buy a PlayStation 5. I don't need to buy a Series X because I'm going to play everything on it on my PC because I have an awesome PC. I don't need to spend the money for a Series X. Like I would love to, but I don't need to. So I'm just gonna be like, hey, I'm just gonna enjoy, all these video games from everywhere because now it's just easier to make that decision. Because previously it'd be like, nope, in order to play Halo Infinite, you have to buy an Xbox, and then with kids, with money and everything being tight, it's like, well, now I have to make a choice, and I have to be like those people on the internet, and now I have to defend my bad choice if I made a bad choice. But now it just seems like it just makes it easier to play the games that you want, no matter where you are, as long as you purchase a new, at least one of the next gen consoles. So
Yep.
that's my thought on the subject. Rebuttal, comment,
No,
dissertations.
go ahead, JD.
I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, like all those games that were mentioned, like Horizon Zero Dawn, or Spider-Man God of War, like PS4 killed it with exclusives, and I have never hid from that fact or tried to deny it in any way, shape, or form. But the big thing is that I like, yeah, like Xbox doesn't have that, like, and there's been a lot of canceled titles that had the potential to be that. Like, I'm sure we all remember Scalebound and how that went. But the like the whole thing is that Spider-Man PS4, it's not just a really good game, it's probably one of the best Spider-Man stories out there. And like, Devin, you finally got through all that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I played through most of it already. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's one of the best Spider-Man stories like ever told, like in any form of media. I think it's second only to Into the Spider-Verse for me personally. Other people might disagree, but the whole thing is that it's locked behind that exclusivity to PS4. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, also on PS4. I know a lot of people who heard about how good it was, really wanted to play it. And it's like there are all these amazing games with amazing journeys, just amazing narratives that are just being locked behind console barriers for no other reason aside from just sell more boxes. And it kind of feels like it feels like we're on the verge, like with Xbox, it feels like we're finally on the verge of like the video game equivalent of, we all have cars and we're all allowed to drive on the same road, as opposed to like, you can't drive on this road because you bought Volvo.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's crazy to me how this is how, like, I get why it used to be a thing, but now it's like, technology's more open. There's, we're advancing in a certain way. Like I'm really excited that, like, yeah, like Xbox doesn't have any of that, but they do have this philosophy that is making their work and their games more available to anything. And what's going to, sell their stuff better than availability? Like, it's simple. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, like, what, it's going to make a bunch of money now. It's going to PC, but it only had so much potential being locked to PS4. And that's why they have to sign the exclusivity contracts with like the bonuses and things like that, because they have to be like, we know you're not going to make as much, but we're going to pay you that difference to keep it just for us.
Yeah, the barriers are coming down. So shall we go over our predictions since we did predictions for our show for the Xbox showcase?
I think we could just say Mike won because he, took the
no,
easy
I
way
want to talk
out.
about these. All right. So let's talk about the predictions here. All right. So prediction number 1, Steve said that there would be 2 Halo games announced, and there was only one announced. I was hoping for maybe another one. That would have been cool if there was. So I will get 0 points for that. Devin said that there would free-to-play Halo multiplayer would be announced. They did
talk
mention
about.
multiplayer.
I mean, they mentioned that they're going to talk about it in the future. That's it.
All right. And then Mike says Halo goes cross-platform. Technically, he's correct because it's on Xbox and PC. So we'll give Mike 1 point for that.
Don't but. I got the point. Shut up.
All right. Predictions number 2. So Steve said there would be 4 new IPs announced from first-party developers. I was really surprised that there were not more new IPs announced. Like, I think we had 3 new IPs, but I don't even know if they're first party developers. Like the Gunk is not first party developer. I forget who made the Gunk, but that's not first party. As Dusk Falls is Interior Night, and that's not first party. The only new first party IP that we got was Avowed from Obsidian. It's also surprising that we saw nothing of Battletoads and nothing of Cuphead. All right, so
they got more stuff next month, right? So
yeah, that's true.
They don't want to show everything in one show.
Devin says 3 new studio acquisitions. No acquisitions announced this time. Mike said there will be an indie vampire game. Indiana Jones vampire game? So 0 on this one. No vampire game.
That's one that I would play.
So
yeah, no vampire game. I should have chose zombies. I would have won.
Yeah, you always go with zombies or pirates, and then your Anthem territory. All right. Number 3, Steve says no price point will be given, so I'll go ahead and take my points for that one.
What?
And
No. Read the full thing.
okay, no price point given, and they will announce a release date. So no release date. They're still waiting for Sony to budge on that one. All right. Devin says Coalition will announce a new IP. Coalition was not even mentioned. I guess their logo was up there, but they're still working on stuff. And then Mike says there will be a Harry Potter game. Yeah, I wonder when we're gonna see that Harry Potter game. I was actually
August,
thinking
supposedly.
You think August? I was actually like hoping for that low key. Hey, we just acquired all of WB stuff. Because there was that rumor that was going around. But
Right.
Well, I knew when they said it's only gonna be games. We're not talking any other business. That was, most of my stuff was out of the picture. So, but that's next month, right? After Sony caves and announces the price and release date, then Microsoft will undercut them.
So, congratulations, Mike, for winning the prediction contest with 1 point. How come it always seems like our predictions only like end up with 1 point, and everyone else is like throwing up goose eggs? But
It's the old Price is Right strategy.
$1.
$1.
I predict that Devin will not change his name by the next episode. All right. So, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us on episode 132 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out. SJ, sorry that you could not get the stream working. I'm sure you'll hear this afterwards. But thank you, everyone. Thanks for the Drunk Superman for the subs. KDT, thanks for hanging out. Faintgen, thanks for lurking all the time. Yeah, and Intel Rusted, thanks for hanging out as well. I know it's like either super late or super early wherever Rusted's at.
They're 8 hours ahead of us.
They're 8 hours ahead of us, so it's super early in the morning for Rusted over in Japan. So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Freelancer Codex. Again, you can write into the show, freelancercodex@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter. We're always there. Catch our streams early in the morning. Catch our streams Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Devin will be playing FPSs. Devin, are you going to put together a Halo video?
Of what?
I don't know, of covering like the stuff that you saw today, pointing out all these, tiny little details that only Devin would find?
I don't know. I mean, I could put up the video where I went 33-1.
I guess you could do that. Check out Devin's videos where he's actually teaching people how to be better at FPSs. Those should be coming soon-ish, ?
We'll see. Katie's. I'm working on the next one for Halo. That's all I'm really playing right now for first shooter.
Getting ready for that Halo stuff. All right. And until next time, everyone, be good to each other, stay safe, and just be nice, all right? We'll catch you later.
Thank you for listening to the Freelancer Codex, a podcast brought to you by the Shut Up and Respawn Network. Follow us at Freelancer Codex on Twitter or Twitch. Send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com or voice messages to anchor.fm/freelancercodex/message. We wish to thank all of our Patreons. We are grateful for you all.
All right. I have stopped the recording there.
Night,
I have
everybody.
stopped the